You're listening to the Business Marketing Show, episode number 44. On this episode, we have our special guest, Fleur Allen from Box Biz. You can find us at businessmarketingshow.com, on iTunes, SoundCloud and Stitcher. Hi everyone, this is Keay-Smith from the Business Marketing Show and Online Impact with my co-host Brendan Tully from the Search Engine Shop, and we have our special guest on the line today, Fleur Allen from Box Biz. I met Fleur 6 years ago at another event at the Business Fusion / Mastery workshops that were run by Anthea Moffat, now known as Anthea Horvat, and that's how we initially met all those years ago. And Fleur runs a very successful marketing / networking business in Perth, which is the Box Biz events that we're going to discuss. And she's also just come back from Ontrapalooza in Santa Barbara in the US, which is part of the Ontraport web marketing system and their awards. And she's been over there, and she actually was the recipient of award as well. So she will talk about that. So welcome, Fleur, to the podcast. How are you?
Thanks so much, and thanks for the opportunity from both you and Brendan. Thanks very much. And has it been 6 years, Ed?
Fleur, it's been 6 years. I hate to disappoint you with that information, but yes, it has been.
But I feel old.
Well, yes, that's what happens. You think far out. 6 years went very, very quickly, but yes, it was 2009. So
yes, that's gone very quickly, and how things have changed for me.
They have indeed, and you've had a lot of different things where you've progressed from that we'll talk about in a moment, but you've got a lot of exciting things happening, and we think people should have a listen, particularly people in Perth, but also people in the rest of Australia and globally. There's things they can benefit from this conversation. So thanks for taking the time to come on.
My pleasure. Thank you.
So as we usually do, we like to get a bit of a back history from our guests on the podcast to find out what has led them to this point in time, because everyone has different combinations of experiences that lead them to a certain part of what they're doing now. And I always think what you've done in the past helps contribute to your business or whatever it is you're doing at the moment. And a lot of people say to me sometimes that they're not happy with what they're doing, or they don't like what they're doing. And I typically say you'll be quite surprised at how your past experiences will help you with things you're doing currently. And so feed us back. We'll go back to some of the first things you're doing in terms of employment and business. So what got you started? We'll say you've left high school. We're going back that far. All right.
Well, we are going back.
we don't want your high school stories. We can save those for another podcast.
Well, I've always had a curiosity of being in business, but to be honest, I didn't have the motivation to jump ship sort of thing. I had a lot of fear around the idea of going into business on my own. Uh-huh. So I worked in a whole range of professions since leaving school, going through doing different university degrees. But in a nutshell, I've worked in banking, I've worked in education as a teacher. That is my degree, an education degree. And I've also worked in not-for-profit organisations, arts organisations predominantly, in the marketing sales type departments with an education role, becoming an audience development role. And it was actually when I was pregnant with my son, he's turning 9 this month, that I had a taste of what it would be like to work from home, because my boss at the time, I think she took pity on me because I didn't cope with pregnancy very well, and allowed me to work from home 2 days a week. And so when I was continuing my pregnancy and then went through my year of maternity leave, I basically researched going into business on my own, and a home-based business, so I could be having the motivation for me to do it was my son, because I wanted to have control over my diary, and I didn't want to be getting on a bus at 8 o'clock in the morning to go and work in the CBD when I had a young baby.
Yeah.
So that was the motivation. So here was my motivation to get over myself, to get over my fears, and to actually take on this thing called small business. And I can tell you that is now, I'm coming up to my 8th year in business, and it has been an absolute roller coaster ride, but it's been a very uh, uh, one of full of joys, full of challenges, but also that roller coaster ride reflects my growth as both a human being, but also as a professional in what I do. So basically, Out of the Box Biz is my third business, and I started out with an online art gallery, which I am actually using the structure of that business, which I created 8 years ago. Unbeknownst to me, I put it in front of a lot of business consultants, experts, coaches, and that's all like saying this is an amazing entrepreneurial structure. It was a membership-based business. And when that business was struggling due to the demise or the struggles of the art industry, I just went, well, I don't feel like I'm helping the people I intended to help, so I need to go do something different. So a few years later, I closed that business and took the exact same structure to create Out of the Box Biz. So that's a membership-based business. So I've really had 8 years experience in working with clients as members as opposed to a non-membership structure. So that's kind of, and what led me to this point was in between those two businesses, I created a property mentoring business because that's one of my other passions and skills in property investment. And it was through that business and all through my professional life, no matter what roles I've always been, other people have interacted with me and said, you really are good at networking and you're good at connecting people. That has been a consistent theme throughout my professional life, right from my 20s.
So
it
true.
comes, yeah. Oh, thank you.
I can vouch for that.
Yeah, well, you've seen it firsthand.
I have many times.
And I mean, this interview is a result of that, is testament to that face-to-face personal communication and connection. So you never know where it's going to lead and what it's going to do. And as a result of that, this business, Out of the Box Biz, was created because I created the first BNI, lunchtime BNI in Western Australia. It was about 2 or 3 years ago now. And the people coming to that were saying, this is great, BNI is great, we know it works, but we want to see what you do in the networking space, Fleur. And that really took me by surprise. I mean, I was like, really? So over that 6 months period, I thought about it and I thought, well, do I have any views? Do I actually have a comment or a way I think it should be done in terms of complementing what's already on offer? So it was through that experience that I felt there was a gap in the market, and therefore Out of the Box Biz was born 1st of January 2014.
Awesome, yeah, and it's gone from strength to strength. And how many people did you have now? For those who don't know, you've got a cap on membership, at least for this current version of Out of the Box Biz. It's 120 people cap.
Yeah,
so
in 120 in each capital city
in
is
each capital city.
the
Okay.
ruling.
Yep. Okay. And you're in Perth at the moment, but you're expanding to other areas of Australia as we speak. So that's exciting. But when you first started and when you thought, okay, let's launch Out of the Box Biz, did you have some carryovers from your other business that came along for the ride and thought, yeah, right, well, Fleur's great. We know Fleur. We trust Fleur. We'll sign up. And they just sort of put their hands up and off they went. How many people joined at the initial launch?
Yeah, so I was talking to people in my art business. I was very upfront with them and said I'm no longer going to do what I do. But the reason why I feel confident I can and stop doing this is because I've got something else to offer you if you're interested. So I told them it was very different, and I had about 25 to 28 artists back then. And 15 came across and they said, yeah, we'll give this a go. You know, I'll continue for 3 to 6 months and see if it works for me. Because as you alluded to, there was a high level of trust, and I was very honoured, to be honest, that those people took that leap of faith, because, you know, that enabled me to recreate from the ground up. So I also was talking to about 5 different people who just been hanging around me saying, look, I really, they were the ones encouraging me to do my version of networking. So we opened our doors 1st of January 2014 with 20 members. We had our first event in February because I felt I needed at least 6 weeks to talk about the new business before I did an event. We now run one meetings in January as well, but that year I didn't. And so we had 20 members at that meeting. We had about 39 people, I think it was, in the room. And by the March, the next meeting, we had 35 members. So it's just built from then.
Yeah, it's great. I didn't hear about it until the middle of the year. And I came along to, I think it was June or July, and I happened to be member number 60, which was fun.
Yeah, you were.
I was right smack in the middle. And I'm only just thinking as you're talking that this is the longest I've remained a member of any networking group ever.
Really?
So, yeah. I mean, the longest before that was Anthea's that I mentioned before, which is where we initially met, which was for about a year or so. But now, coming up, I think next month it will be the longest. And I intend to stay. I have no, I think you're really cool, Fleur, so I think I'll stay. And not only are you cool, but the people who are members are cool. And that's one of the things it's a really, really good group of people with a lot of diversity. I think that's the thing I enjoy about it, because I've been a member of BNI, and for those who don't know what BNI is, it's Business Networking International, is what it stands for. And it's again, an international organisation. I've been a member of a couple of different chapters in different places around Perth over the years, and it was okay, but I'm not a early morning person, and I know this. You started a lunchtime one, didn't you? For being
yeah. I mean, and not everything is going to suit everybody either.
No, and the weekly thing it wasn't for me, and I found it limiting because it was typically most chapters I was a member of, there was maybe 20 to 30 people at the most. So, and that's what I do enjoy about Out of the Box Biz is typically at any given time. Not everyone who's a member turns up to every monthly meeting all the time. So I think typically we've got about 60 or 70 people there at quite often. Is that about right?
Yeah, we've got a core group that fluctuates anywhere between 65 to 80 people now. The top end's growing now. But yeah, there's a core group, and then we have a bunch of people that are coming and going when it suits their schedules, when they're in town or what have you.
Yeah, okay. So I just find that's really good. And look, in terms of networking, I'm a firm believer of when you go to a networking event, I focus on quality, not quantity. So I don't try and get around and talk to every single person in the room and throw my business card at them as some people operate. So I would rather just talk to 2 or 3 people for an evening and make that more solid connection. So it takes a while to get around to all these people. So that's you keep coming back every month, and I say there's new people that come in. So there's a constant fresh group of people, even though you say there is a core group that doesn't seem to change that much, but there's always different people, and people bring guests along as well. So it's
there's always a healthy proportion of new people in the room.
Yeah, there is, and that's great, and I think that's anything networking related needs that. So
thank you.
So in terms of who is the target market for this group? Who should come along to Out of the Box Biz? Describe them for us.
I describe it as business professionals because there's a whole range of people out there who need to generate new connections, but they may not be the business owner themselves. Yes, we do have a large proportion of business owners that are members, but I like to make it broader than that to encourage business professionals to be in the room. Because, for instance, our family lawyer, who's the member, I met the business owner, and she and I both knew that she wasn't going to be the member for Out of the Box. It just wasn't going to suit her, doesn't suit the way she works. And so she introduced me to one of her staff members who's fantastic, and she gets it, and she comes along, and she's a really valued member. So there's an opportunity there both for the business owner or else someone in their business to generate those new connections in business. So that's why that's why I use the term business professional rather than just business owner.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah, so that just allows us to attract, as you mentioned before, a more diverse room, because I believe, as you've mentioned, that is the key to success in any networking room. I mean, it's great having industry groups and networking events and those sorts of things. There's definitely a place for that. But if I'm coming to the market and offering something different in networking, because I can tell you when I went to, first talk about this, everyone's going, well, there's loads of networking groups, Fleur. What are you going to do that's different? So I talked to a lot of people and I said, what about a diverse room every single month? And there's both the core people that that you feel comfortable with and you've got long-term relationships, but there's always new people there as well. And right from the very first meeting, I feel very fortunate in that's what we've been attracting.
Yeah, I agree. So I think it's great. Typical things that people need to know, I suppose, is what's involved with joining and what are the costs for that sort of thing. So what's your membership fees and how does that work for people who are interested in maybe coming along?
Yeah, so we're a membership-based organisation, so we do encourage the majority of people in the room to be members because we're about long-term relationships. However, we do encourage guests, of course, who want to come along and just see what it's all about, try it first. So our public ticket is $149 to attend, but our membership prices begin lower than that because my commitment is to our members. So it really depends on what level. We've got a whole bunch of levels, but in a nutshell, you can actually get in the room as a member from $97. However, that's on a longer term commitment.
Yeah.
But just to get in the room at the moment until the end of the year, because it'll be a slight increase for 2016, it's $129 to be the base level member where you get the membership, you become a part of the community, you get the online presence, but you also get the monthly events as well.
Yeah, yep. That's great.
We offer quite a lot, so it's quite complex. So I always encourage people to have a conversation, and we base that conversation about what their greatest business needs are, and if we're a good match for them, to be honest.
Yeah, and I think it's important that people need to come along to these sorts of things and experience them at least once before they then decide to commit to joining, because it is an ongoing thing, and there's no point in paying for a monthly membership of something if you're not going to turn up. So
yeah, exactly. And a lot of people are coming in that are new, committing to 3 months because they can see, because we're about long-term relationships, that you're not going to really understand what it's all about in 1 month. So they generally join for 3 months, and then if it's a good match and it's working for them, then they continue on an annual basis, which is really exciting because then we can really nurture and leverage those long-term business relationships.
Yeah, that's awesome. And you are the master networker, Fleur. It's funny to watch you in the room, particularly when there's so many people. I often watch Fleur, and this happens to me many times. She'll walk across, grab someone by the arm in a nice way and say, you need to meet such and such. And then she sort of links them together. You two need to speak. And then off she goes and she does it with someone else. It's quite fun to watch. So now Brendan is on this podcast, and I'm sure he has a question because it's only been
Hi Brendan.
Ed and Fleur going on. So Brendan, any observations or questions for Fleur?
Well, because you two guys know what this is all about, tell me what happens at an event, because what happens at a networking event? I've been to a couple of B&Is and it wasn't for me, but explain to me, does everyone just have tea and biscuits or what's the deal?
Well, we do. That is definitely part of it. It's really the main reason I go, but not really.
For the biscuits, is that it? Yeah.
For the biscuits and the tea.
Do we have biscuits? I don't know.
Yes, there are biscuits in that little corner where the coffee and machine is.
Ed knows where the biscuits are.
Yeah, I don't actually eat them truthfully. I did early, but not anymore because they were just too many, and this is not good. So I'll let you describe what happens in the meeting, Fleur, and then I'll tell the listeners whether I agree.
All right, that'd be awesome.
All right, go for it.
So we meet it's an evening event, so when you're not eating into your working day. So people start arriving around 6. There's open networking, which is just people are free to mill about, grab some food, and there's tea and coffee and food available, more than biscuits because it
Definitely.
is dinner time.
Yep.
So we do cater more than just tea and biscuits. And then we go into the formal presentation. We do follow a business agenda. And basically, we bring in normally one expert guest speaker, which will speak for either 60 or 90 minutes throughout the evening. And then we have our own out-of-the-box agenda items. Like I have a business tip, which is on some aspect of business that I feel is current in terms of trending, what everyone's thinking about or concerned about during that month. And which also creates an opportunity to get up out of your seat and move about the room to meet other people. So there's a couple of we facilitate some networking opportunities live through the actual agenda. And then we have a middle break, which is open networking again. And we finish the formal presentation and again end off with open networking at the end, because I think there needs to be a blend of you realising who's in the room, go, oh, I need to go and talk to that person, but also us facilitating some networking opportunities and go meet people that you wouldn't normally think of meeting, because you just don't know. You don't know who's in that room often, because we are averaging about 80 people in the room now. And yes, myself as the master networker attempts to connect people live in the room, but we're also connecting people in between the monthly meetings. So an Out of the Box Biz membership is more than just the monthly meeting. But in a nutshell, that's what we go through at our monthly meetings.
Yeah, and the guest speakers are awesome, and I'm not just saying that because I have been one of them. But,
yes, you have. Thank you.
But typically, I don't think there's anyone who has presented that haven't been really great, that's had a really good view on what they do. They come from different backgrounds, and always look forward to having the guest speakers. And last month it was John Bellamy, who has just been on our podcast. He was on.
Oh, fantastic!
And that's about to get uploaded tomorrow, isn't it, Brendan? Tomorrow, and
it is.
And we spoke to John about heart-centered moneymakers and also LinkedIn. That was the sort of subject of that podcast for those who want to go back and listen to it. And that was great. So that's a sort of standard of people that come in. Sometimes it's local people, sometimes it's actually members of Out of the Box Biz, and other times it's people from out of state or different places. So it's quite varied.
Yes.
So if people want to go and check out Out of the Box Biz and they're interested in learning more, they can go to Out of the Box Biz. It's BIZ, outoftheboxbiz.com.au. I believe Fleur's got a new website that's currently being built. Is that right, Fleur? You've got.
I get a sneak peek of what it's looking like next week. So we're so close. So please don't judge us by the current website. It's very old, and it's not the fault of the original web developer. It's all my fault.
Well, by the time this goes live, that may be completely irrelevant. So, so I actually may edit this bit out, so you don't have to say that. No, that's okay. We'll see whether the website's live or not. Otherwise, someone's got something to look forward to. So they can go there and check that out. That is cool.
I also encourage people to connect with me online, either by LinkedIn or Facebook, because we are connecting people. People like to watch and see what we're up to first before they actually start committing on any level. Yeah,
great. So they can just search for Fleur Allen, FLEURALLEN.
Yep.
Fleur Allen, that is the spelling. I got that right. I'm very impressed with myself. And they can find you on LinkedIn or Facebook, as you said. So that's cool. And start following what's going on with that. So another very exciting thing that's just happened is you just won an award through the, what would you call, Ontraport. It's a business system, business management system, business marketing system, platform. They probably did a really terrible job of describing it, but they have a yearly event held in Santa Barbara, which is where the company is based, and it's called Ontrapalooza. And you were just the recipient of an award. So would you like to tell us what happened there and what that is all about?
Yes, I'd love to. Very unexpected. It was an application-based business award process. So I submitted the application sometime, I think it was back in July, not thinking I'd actually win it.
Yeah.
I know people say to me and go, well, if you don't have the expectation to win, why do you bother? And the reason why I bother is part of my own professional development and business development, in that when I put myself through an application process, you kind of get real about where you're at in your business, if you know what I mean, because it's like you're showing, to a third party, often intimate details about your own business. So
Yeah.
I seek opportunities to do that. So I put it in, didn't think anything of it, but I did put an intention. I was doing a business plan workshop over in Sydney in August, and when I was writing out a few goals that I'd like to achieve, I thought, it would be really cool if I won this Palooza Award, a Success Award by Ontraport. And lo and behold, it was 8 weeks ago that I received the email saying congratulations. So
Awesome.
so it was one of 5 awards only that were awarded. There was one, probably the top award, and then the 4 of us underneath were all recipients. So I won the Success Award for Most Creativity with Technology, which a lot of people who know my business is all about face-to-face communication would find that quite funny or ironic. Because although I am committed to face-to-face contact and communication for long-term business relationships, I'm also understanding we live in a modern world with a lot of technology available to us. And I've been using Ontraport at different levels. I started off on the really baby level, probably about 5 years ago, and built myself up. So it's predominantly looking after a lot of the marketing support, the back end support of my business. But after being at the conference, I'm realizing how much more it can do, because you often don't know what you don't know. So
Always.
yeah, so that was really, to be honest, I've only just got back over the jet lag. So it's all been an incredibly exciting period of growth and learning and celebration. So it's for the first time. I've always had the intention that I thought the Box Biz could be a global entity, and for the first time, having acknowledgement with this international award and all the feedback and interest I got when I was in the US, I really believe that we can go that far. So it's a very exciting time.
Awesome. Yes, the power of the imagination is only
Yes,
limited
yes.
by ourselves ultimately. So that's very cool. Did you like Santa Barbara?
Oh, I love Santa
It's
Barbara.
great, isn't it? It's a great spot. I was there many years back. I haven't been there since, for the Commission Junction, which is an affiliate marketing platform. Commission
Yeah,
Junction.
it's a lovely, lovely town.
It is. It's really, really cool. So that's great. So in terms of Ontraport, for people who are wondering what is Ontraport, how would you describe Ontraport as a platform for business? What is it that it does?
Well, a best way of describing it is it combines things like a CRM, your customer relationship management program, or your database, or wherever you store your clients or contacts for in business. So it has that functionality. You can always also include your email marketing. So rather than having all these different software programs all over the place and trying to get them to talk to each other, you go into the one dashboard. So I log into Ontraport multiple times every single day. So it's tracking things like my email marketing. It's also we have sequences. So because I'm a membership-based organisation, everyone that joins Out of the Box, they all have the same questions, because this is a new thing. And people can only take in so much information in a 1 hour meeting when we sit down and have our new member meetings.
Right.
So we have a online induction course, which is a bunch of emails that goes out to members over probably a 3-week period. So it's about 7 emails over a 3-week period, just talking about different aspects of the membership, and that's all run through Ontraport. And now they've just improved the templates for their landing pages. So I can create any number of landing pages I want and host it through Ontraport, or as a part of my 1 monthly subscription. So I'm on quite a high level subscription, but I'm on that high level because I now use it all.
Yeah.
So if people are new in business, you just start off at this lower level and build your way up. But I highly recommend, whether it's Ontraport or any other software program out there, that is your one central dashboard of storing the information. It's all centered around your contacts. So basically, if a contact comes into my business, whether it be from the website, from a landing page, from social media, from live networking, then they're entered into the contacts area, the CRM area, and it's recorded how we met them. So in terms of analysis of your business, whether you do that monthly, quarterly, annually, or whatever, it's good information. You can go in and go, right, August we got a lot of members, so where did they come from? How did that happen? So it's very, very powerful, and I don't use it anywhere near to what you can, but I'm learning, and it's a lifeline of my business, really.
Awesome. Very, very cool. Brendan, have you got any questions regarding Ontraport, because you're into these platforms?
I am. Not really. I've, as we've talked about in other episodes, I used to use, I had 2 copies of Infusionsoft for 2 of our different businesses, and I'm now moving away from it because I'm just not, the product doesn't do what we needed to do anymore. But why did you choose Ontraport? Why specifically that? And did you try anything before that?
Yeah, I tried. I was on Infusionsoft. There was a period of time, I think, from what I can gather, Infusionsoft went through some kind of upgrade, and I was with them before this upgrade, and it was an unfortunate situation where I had 3 to 6 months where the data just literally was jamming, and Infusionsoft is a very, very expensive initial buy-in and monthly costing. And basically what changed me to go from Infusionsoft to Ontraport is Infusionsoft have an incredible sales team. Like, if you ever want to learn how to, work in a sales team, just go through the whole Infusionsoft process, because they're incredible, and I have a lot of respect for them because they're very successful. However, their follow-up, backup, support teams, now this is about 5 years ago, so I can't comment on it now currently, frankly, was terrible.
Brendan can.
So there was no support. I was spoken to.
It hasn't changed. So.
And I just went, you know what? I'm paying an incredible amount of money here, and I'm not a software expert. You are. But I'm the client and I need your help. And I didn't appreciate how I was being spoken to. So Ontraport, on the other hand, pretty much don't have a sales team. I mean, they've changed that now to 5 years ago. They're beginning to develop that area more. But they've put their energies and their expertise in the support staff. And they're incredible. And that's just so lovely. Like, there's nothing that's never too big a problem. And if something's not fixed, there's often a reason. You just check in and, something's just been missed, but it's like an innocent mistake. It's not this big deal kind of drama. It's just the culture of the business. I enjoy the culture of the business. I mean, that's why I chose to enter their Success Awards, because I wanted to be aligned, my brand, with their brand. And I'm very interested in organisational culture, and I really respect the way they communicate to their clients, but also the way they communicate internally and the way they bond together, because they do have a concern and interest in business community, as I do.
Yeah, that's a great point. And look, there is a lot of complexity to these platforms that people who aren't technical can completely get overwhelmed by them.
Yeah.
And so something that is simpler to use is always better. But if you do get stuck, you want to be able to ask questions, not be made to feel stupid because you don't know the answers, and to actually have someone who gives a crap helping you. And Ontraport's now got people in Australia, they've flown staff over, and believe that's still the case.
Apparently 30% of their clientele is in Australia, so
there you go.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, so they've moved some staff over here to help with sort of local times for getting support rather than staying up at 2:00 in the morning so you can speak to someone in the US, which is never fun being Perth based. It's great when you've got someone at least in Sydney. At least it's only 3 hours difference.
That's really helped things a lot.
Yeah, that's great. So that's good. So people can go to ontraport.com and check that out if they want to have a look. And it comes with the full backing and approval of Fleur Allen from Out of the Box Biz.
It does.
At the time of this recording.
Yes.
One thing I find over the years, I don't know why this happens, but you find some platform that's really good, and it may be a small platform or a tool or something that's really great, and you love it, and then a big company comes along and buys it and turns it into complete shit. And this happens all the bloody time. And you think, why can't they leave it alone? Why do they have to go on? They do not listen to the if it ain't broke, don't fix it mentality. Yeah. And they just go and stuff it up, and you go, okay, time to leave. So hopefully Ontraport will keep growing and get better, and they won't forget their roots and their whole, as you say, their business culture of dealing with their clientele.
Yeah.
And having that great customer experience. So very, very cool. So, so I think, look, people who are listening to this podcast, they are definitely in your target market, and not everyone who listens to this is in Perth, but it may, sometime down the track when you've expanded to other places in Australia and overseas, further on, then that's something that people may be listening to this podcast in 2 years' time. Who knows? Stranger things have happened.
Yeah, well, we're trying to decide whether it's Sydney or Melbourne that's going to want us first. So it's all down to demand. So we'll see what happens.
Fantastic. So anything else you'd like to ask Fleur, Brendan, before we finish up and let her get back to her busy schedule of catching up on?
I think that's it, Ed.
That's it? Cool. So thanks, Fleur.
Thank you so much to both you, Ed and Brendan. This is a great opportunity, so I really appreciate it.
You are most welcome. Thanks for coming on, and I will see you at the next Out of the Box Biz meeting. So
great.
Thanks. See you guys. You've been listening to the Business Marketing Show. You can find us at businessmarketingshow.com on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Stitcher.